Hello, welcome back to Shit Rentals with your host, Purple Penis. Check this out. These were taken just before the renter moved out about 4 weeks ago, and it's back up for lease. The address is Unit 2, 147 Victoria Street in Ashfield, New South Wales, and it's rented by the real estate agency Tripp. They're leasing it out for $670 per week, which is a bit on the nose considering it's fucked. But also I looked into the landlord, and the landlord is incredibly wealthy and owns the entire apartment block. I reached out to Tripp to see if they'd fixed any of this before they put it back up for lease, and they said they'd get back to me, but they haven't, and I doubt they will. But yeah, if you're from Tripp and you want to chat, you've got my number. I had a chat with a renter who lived here, who didn't want to be named for obvious reasons. Thanks for joining me. We're not going to say your name, for obvious reasons. But I guess, yeah. Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about why you're not happy to, or why you're not comfortable?
Yeah, I guess it's that thing that being a renter, I don't really see myself being able to afford to buy anything anytime soon. And I guess you have in your head, and my friends are telling me and my family that, you don't want to get blacklisted. You don't want repercussions for jobs later on. Landlords are everywhere. And yeah, I guess I just don't want my business, my reputation, or my job prospects marked because of a bad living experience that I've gone through. However, I do think it's really important to speak up, because without people speaking up, nothing is ever going to change.
Damn right. How long were you there for?
So I was there for, I think it would be nearly 5.5 years, and moved in just between what me and my friends call mini lockdown and big lockdown, and needed more room. I was in a very small apartment beforehand, found this one, went in for the inspection. It had mold in the bathroom, but I was told that it would be cleaned up and fixed, and to
Naturally.
be honest, and I didn't, young, naive, trusting, of people sticking to their word. I saw that it would be a good opportunity to be able to have a bit more space, so I believed them and moved in. And then the mold by the time I had moved in, they did paint over the mold in the ceiling. And I think the first email that I sent to the real estate agent, it was within a month that the mold had started reappearing again. And then it just got worse and worse. And the photos were taken, basically 4 weeks ago. So that was before the exit clean was done. And so it was very, very fresh. That was that was exactly how it was left in very recent history.
Yeah, beautiful. And do you reckon they've fixed it in the 4 weeks?
What do we call fix? Painted over? Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It was it was a problem where, in one way, I'm lucky that the real estate and landlord never put it back on me, because they did dye tests of the apartment, because the landlord owns the entire block. And they did dye tests in the apartment above, which the landlord's family were actually living in at the time. And the ceiling went, the dye came through. So I think they knew they could never put it on you didn't open the windows, because the windows were open constantly, even though it meant mosquitoes were coming in and out of the apartment all the time. So yeah, I highly doubt that they've done some internal work on the bathroom upstairs to stop that from happening.
A Sparky reached out to me and said that the light fixture with the surface connection, the electrical surface connection in a shower doesn't meet the Australian standards, and obviously if the water is coming from the top and the 240-volt connection is at the top,
Yeah, okay, that's something I never thought of, but
yeah,
unsurprising.
it's back up for rent. They've put it up for rent already, with a pretty significant rent increase.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that rent increase just before you moved out?
Yeah, so I got a courtesy call from the real estate in early January,
Mm,
advising me that the rent would be going up, and asking me how I felt about that. And I was like, well, you
fantastic.
literally, yeah, it's stunning. It's exactly what I wanted for myself this year. And I said to her, I was like, you've literally come through for an inspection a month
Mm,
beforehand. You've seen the state of the ceiling. There is no
mm,
way that this apartment is worth the money that's being asked, especially when you're citing maintenance, and area value as the reason for the increase. So yeah, my rent was being put up from $495 a week to $635, which by my calculations was about 26%. And now they've
yeah.
advertised it at 670. So that's even more than what my increase was going to be.
Yeah, it's almost $200 a week. That is like insane, particularly for this place.
There was a downpipe that my upstairs neighbour was complaining about for months on end, which the day
Mm,
that I moved out had actually fallen down. And
mm,
had it not been caught by the tree, someone could have actually been really seriously injured by that. That's my intel is that downpipe has not been fixed a month later.
mm.
So now there's like no downpipe on that side of the building.
Like I've genuinely seen some empty, like some abandoned homes that are in better condition,
Yeah.
than this one, which is
Yeah.
insane.
It's just
Um,
sad, like, and like I have autoimmune problems, so
mm,
I can only think of the effect that it's had on my health.
mm,
And my rabbit unfortunately got very sick a year ago with pneumonia, which it's
mm,
been suggested by the vet that mold was probably the cause of that.
mm,
And she has unfortunately since passed away, and it's really hard to
mm,
feel like um I did that, like,
mm,
even though it's like I didn't have the means to move.
mm,
Yeah, it's hard because it's like affects people, and I just really worry about the next people moving in if they've got kids and they've got asthma, or
mm,
anyone. It doesn't like it. It's just it's not safe because it's stressful. Like
mm,
in all, like thinking. I know that like up until a month ago, I was on edge, constantly waiting for like to be told that my rent was going up and that
mm,
I wouldn't be able to afford to live there anymore. And it's an awful way to live. Like I know
mm,
it's like there's much worse situations, and I know I had a roof over my head, but having that hanging over you, you just
mm.
don't feel secure in anything that you do.
Yeah. How did you feel during all of this, particularly towards the end when you got that rent increase and stuff like that?
I genuinely feel like I've aged 5 years in
Mm,
like 5 months. Like I
mm,
feel like I don't sleep very well. I cry at the drop of a hat.
mm,
It's stressful. Like I feel like you go to rental inspections and it's like you've got to sell yourself and you've got to fight against other renters when we know that we're all in the same
mm,
boat, and you feel awful. Like the place that I've moved into with a friend, like there was a young mum with two kids, like who was also looking at the place, and she was telling her kids that like this is the bedroom that they would have.
mm,
And we felt awful because obviously like she's in a bad situation too, but it feels like dog eat dog, and it's like you
mm,
don't want to be against the people that are in the same boat as you. It's like we need to be like pushing up, not pushing down and across. Like
mm. It's the
yeah,
problem is not other renters. That's
no.
who they're pitting us against,
Yeah.
though.
And
And
people genuinely think that. Like when I went to
mm,
look at a an apartment like before, like I was looking a little like a few months ago, and went to this
mm,
inspection, and this lady was like she was being so racist and
mm,
so awful, and I was like she's like this is the problem. I was like this is not the problem. It's like that's
mm,
what they want. They want the infighting, and they
mm,
want us to like think that this person is the problem. It's like that's and it's just I got so cranky. I actually walked off from
mm.
the inspection. I was like, I can't deal with this. Like
Yeah.
it's so bad, and it's like it's not okay when it's
Yeah.
like because that doesn't get us anywhere.
Yeah, it is fucking like. Do you think the problem is the person who's getting a rent increase, or do you think it's the person who's doing the rent
That's
increase?
exactly
Which
right. And
like,
owning multiple properties and like not
yeah,
caring about any of them, and like not even knowing your name because to them you're just like money coming
mm.
in every week.
Do you think your story is unusual, or do you
No.
think it's pretty common? Yeah.
I when I first had water pouring through my apartment a
Mm,
few months ago, I put some stories up because I had literally just got my rent increase before that, so I knew that like the game was up. Like I
mm,
had and because to that point I'd been quiet because I
mm,
didn't want to be kicked out. I didn't want a rent increase. I thought if I stayed quiet that I would be
mm,
left alone. And so when I posted stories of the water coming through like into my back, like into the kitchen,
mm,
the my inbox was flooded with
mm,
people, and it was like the solidarity was great, where you know you're not
mm,
alone, but then taking on and hearing all these people's stories, like um, I felt awful because you feel
mm,
so helpless, and knowing that there's so many people in the same position as you, it's
mm.
like rampant.
Exactly. Do you
Yeah.
reckon more people should speak up?
Yeah, I do, but like people are scared, understandably
Mm-hmm.
so. This is why I want to be anonymous.
Yeah.
And like it's exhausting. It's also
Mm,
like it's an uphill battle going
mm,
to tribunal and cat v cat. Like it feels for people who don't know, like who don't have any law
mm,
like knowledge, it
mm,
feels really hard and takes a lot of energy, and we're all just fighting and working to pay our rent and don't really
mm,
have the time to pull together paperwork and fill out forms and pay to lodge these things,
mm,
to be lucky enough to speak to a tenants union.
mm,
Like they're obviously like thin on the ground as well.
mm.
The resources just aren't there.
If you had the opportunity to speak to, the politician that's supposed to be presenting you or representing you rather, what would you say to them?
I would just hope that they would have a little bit more compassion for the position that renters are in, and that we're people, and that we're people that are struggling, and
Mm,
no one's having a good time at the moment. And I would just hope that there would be some reform, that there would be reform on like rental caps, like rent
mm,
going up 26% is not okay. Like
mm,
that's not it's just, yeah, the long and the short of it is it's not okay. Like there should be more protection for renters. Yeah, I would just really hope that politicians, especially this election, I feel like it's like
mm,
we're all here like wanting change, and I just feel like this is a very important election for that, and I would just hope
mm,
that there's a lot of renters and we're being ignored, and I
mm,
really would hope that that's yeah, that if we yell maybe we'll get listened to.
mm. This whole system is fucked. And it's killing people, and it's killing people's pets, quite
Yeah,
literally. Yeah, thank you so much
you're
for talking to
welcome.
me. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I want to know what you think about this property and whether you think this is fair, and also what you think we should do about it. I'm about to report this one to the New South Wales Rental Task Force and see if the real estate agency stops advertising it. But as of recording, this bad boy is still online, so if you're looking to rent Unit 2, 147 Victoria Street in Ashfield, probably don't do that. And if you're looking to rent any building, any unit in that building, also probably don't do that. But if you want to do more about this, about houses like these, about real estate agents like these, and about landlords like these, then I encourage you to get involved. Join the Renters and Housing Union and join Victorian Socialists if you're in Victoria. There's an election coming up and we need all the help we can get to force the ruling class to actually do things that are in our interests. So if you can, host a yard sign with my face on it. Sign up to letterbox around your neighbourhood. And most importantly, sign up to volunteer on polling day. We're running in the lower house but also in the Senate, which means that anyone in Victoria can vote for us. But it also means that we've got to get the word out to everyone in Victoria. And that's pretty hard. So yeah, if you could help, that'd be great. Thank you for listening. Love you all. Also, sorry, I forgot. Please keep submitting your shit rentals to shitrentals.org, which is where I found this one. Or alternatively, the subreddit shit rentals or the Facebook group, Don't Rent Me. And if you want me to come visit your house, or if you want me to, review your property or interview you, please email me. My email is in my link tree.